Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. Poland's President Andrzej Duda has criticized Russia for violating international law in the breakaway regions of Georgia. He calls on the Kremlin to withdraw their troops from the disputed areas, which have seen a major Russian military presence since the Russo-Georgian War of 2008. Speaking at a press conference held in Tbilisi alongside his Georgian counterpart, Salome Zurabishvili, President Duda underlined that Russia is violating international law in Georgia's breakaway South Ossetia region. On the territory of Tskin Valley, we see evident lawlessness and violations of all international law. This has become a daily occurrence. Therefore, representatives of the international community, representatives of the European Union and NATO countries should come and see it with their own eyes to become aware of what's at stake when we say that all efforts must be made to force the Russian Federation to respect international law. The comments from Duda came a day after his visit to the boundary line between Georgia and Russian-controlled separatist South Ossetia, where the European Union monitoring mission was deployed. In August 2008, during 5 days of fighting, Russia pushed troops into Georgia in support of its allies in the separatist region of South Ossetia. Moscow said it acted to protect civilians from Georgian aggression. Georgia and Western nations said it was an unprovoked land grab. The Georgian president expressed her gratitude for Poland's efforts to bring attention to the situation in South Ossetia. I would like to thank Poland for taking part in the European Union monitoring mission since the first day. Now they chair the mission. We talked about the mission. We also discussed that the mission must have more means so that it will be able to do what was prescribed by the 2008 agreement. That EU monitors will be able to monitor the entire occupied territory. It will be one of the ways to de-escalate the situation. Diplomatic ties between Russia and Georgia collapsed afterwards, and Russia went on to recognize the independence of South Ossetia, where Russian troops are now garrisoned. Duda arrived to Georgia on a 2-day visit during which he attended Georgia's Independence Day celebration. And astronomy enthusiasts followed a total lunar eclipse on Wednesday with great interest. The spectacle happened to coincide with May's supermoon, an informal term to describe a full moon at its closest point to Earth, known as a perigee. During this week's big lunar event called the Super Flower Blood Moon, the moon passed directly through Earth's shadow, causing it to appear red for observers in parts of the Americas, as well as Eastern Asia, Australia, Antarctica, and the Pacific Ocean. Poland Daily's Małgorzata Schulz has the report from Los Angeles.
Flower moon was seen from different places around the world, including from here, Los Angeles, California, where I am right now at the Griffith Park Observatory. There is an amazing view for the whole Los Angeles, downtown and surrounded areas. Many people came here to watch a red moon that is seen in the United States after almost 2 years, and it's also the last full moon, this type of moon, for this whole 2021 year. For Poland Daily from Los Angeles, Małgorzata Schulz.
And yesterday, Germany officially apologized for its role in the slaughter of Herero and Nama tribespeople in Namibia more than a century ago, and officially described the massacre as genocide for the first time, as it agreed to fund projects worth over €1 billion. Poland and Greece, in turn, have also signaled to Germany that the country should pay reparations for damages inflicted during the Second World War. But the German state has chosen not to cooperate regarding those claims. German soldiers killed some 65,000 Herero and 10,000 Nama people in a 1904 to 1908 campaign after a revolt against land seizures by colonists in what historians and the United Nations have long called the first genocide of the 20th century. While Germany has previously acknowledged moral responsibility for the killings, it had avoided making an official apology for the massacres to avoid compensation claims. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas announced that the negotiations with Namibia on compensation have been concluded. I am extremely happy and very grateful to have reached an agreement with Namibia on how to deal with one of the darkest chapters of our shared history. The fact that Ruprecht Polenz and his Namibian negotiating partner have been able to bring the negotiations to an end after more than 5 years is a great achievement. The minister announced that Germany will be financing Namibian reconstruction and development programs for 30 years to compensate for the crimes committed.
Unser Ziel ist es, einen gemeinsamen Weg zu echter Versöhnung.
Our goal is to find a common path to real reconciliation in memory of the victims. And that means we have to name the events of the German colonial period in what today is Namibia without sparing or glossing over them, and in particular the atrocities which happened between 1904 and 1908. Today, we officially refer to these events as what they are, a genocide. We are therefore acknowledging our historical responsibility. And in the light of Germany's historical and moral responsibility, we will ask Namibia and the descendants of the victims for forgiveness. And as a gesture of recognition of the immeasurable suffering that was inflicted on the victims, we want to support Namibia and the descendants of the victims with a substantial program worth 1.1 billion euros aimed at reconstruction and development. Minister Maas stated that the German funding will directly benefit the genocide-affected communities. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson welcomed his Hungarian counterpart Viktor Orbán on a state visit to Great Britain as the two nations build a new relationship following Britain's departure from the European Union. Labour MPs have criticized Johnson for the decision to meet with the Hungarian PM, whom they accuse of anti-Semitism. Upon Orbán's arrival at Downing Street, reporters shouted questions at Johnson regarding the Hungarian leader's controversial comments on Islam and migrants, as well as his perceived pro-Russia stance.
What do you say to the opposition parties, the Labour Party here, the Liberal Democrats Party here, who say you are the most regressive leader in the European Union? They have concerns about remarks you have made in the past they say are anti-Semitic, they say are Islamophobic, and that they say is just so anti-immigration. What do you say to that?
In terms of anti-immigration, it could be true. Anti-Semitism is simply ridiculous. We are a more than fair and correct country in that respect. We have a huge Jewish community, probably the number 3 in.
You repeatedly attack people like George Soros with anti-Semitic overtones.
Oh no. George Soros is a talented Hungarian businessman, very strong rival. He is very much in favor of migration, financing and helping the NGOs who are doing that. We don't like it, but it has nothing to do with his ethnic identity, you know. He is just simply a quite clever Hungarian man. Anyway, but back to the migration. You should understand, probably, gentlemen, that the cultural context of migration here in the center of a global empire, may I say, is totally different than in Central Europe. Migration in the Hungarian cultural context is totally negative. So to be anti-migrant, it means that you are on a good side. And this is the intention of the people. We don't need migration. You know, we don't like that phenomenon at all.
A maverick nationalist who has locked horns with the EU over a perceived erosion of democratic standards in Hungary and rows over immigration, Orbán is currently working to build a new conservative alliance within Europe.
Do you see Mr. Johnson as a man, a fellow ally, somebody that you can prod Brussels with, somebody who is outside the system?
He represents a country with nuclear power, the number 6 probably by trade in the world, you know, so it's a different dimension. I can't compare myself to it. Hungary is a 10 million country, don't forget that.
Ahead of the meeting, Orbán told public radio that Hungary missed Britain's presence within the EU and bilateral ties needed to be strengthened. British Business Minister Kwasi Kwarteng told broadcasters earlier on Friday that while he does not endorse Orbán's anti-immigrant views, it was completely reasonable to build relations with remaining EU members. Thanks for tuning in this evening and have a great Saturday night.